The days are longer, the calendar is filling up, and I want to feel as good as this beautiful summer weather. That's why I've been loving Groons. It's one daily pack of gummies that covers my greens, vitamins, and minerals, and even has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber, so I don't need to juggle a complicated wellness routine on top of everything else. They taste amazing. They're easy to toss in my bag on the go. Plus, they're vegan, gluten-free, and HSA, FSA eligible for reimbursement. Save up to 52% off with promo code podcast at gruns.co. That's code podcast at gruns.co.
Security threats are everywhere. But with Xfinity XFi, you're notified of threats to your in-home Wi-Fi network, so all your connected devices are protected. That's simple, easy, awesome. Switch to Xfinity today and get a great offer. You'll get fast speeds and the best in-home Wi-Fi experience with Xfinity XFi. Plus, ask about enhanced security for safer browsing and more. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store to switch today. Restrictions apply.
Welcome back to TalkNorth.com. Thank you for listening. If you can, please download before you listen. It helps our business. I'd also like to thank our producer, Brandon Morton, and let you know if you'd like to sponsor this program or any of the programs on the network, you can reach me at jsouhan47@gmail.com. This might be the last or one of the last shows you and I do in downtown Minneapolis. Isn't that weird?
I know. Well, we need it'd be nice if maybe a live show would come at us and live venue and we come down to back here.
Only if they want us to bring in a lot of people so they can make a lot of money. I don't know why anybody would be interested in that.
Yeah, but it is funny. So I was driving down here to do this podcast, and it's like every time I drive by now, it's like you get that sad feeling, like you just because I moved and I no longer work at the Strip,
right?
And it's like now when I come down, it's like sort of
allowed in Minneapolis.
It's sort of like an event, you know, and you do. It's like, what are the chances? So my old building that I live down here, they call me today and like, hey, we got a package mailed to you, and so on Amazon, I accidentally sent myself a package to my old address, so it was just like perfect timing. I'm like, well, you're not going to believe it. I'm a block away right now, so I ran by, saw all the I'm walking in one of the old I lived in a real high-rise building here, 28 stories, and I'm walking in, and this woman's like, I thought you moved, and I'm like, I don't think I ever saw you in my life, but yes, I did. So that was a great part of living in the condo. Is like you just didn't know anybody. It was like it's like. Well, maybe that's just me.
No, there's actually probably nothing more anonymous than being in a huge city. You know, because you're just another person walking through the halls, another person walking down the street, and if you don't know people, they just leave you alone. Of course, I have to admit though, I've never reached the depths of loneliness where I actually mailed myself a package just so I could pretend to have a friend.
Well, it's such an easy thing, Amazon now. It's why all these companies are going out of business. You just go on and like, oh, I need that. I'll just go and, I don't feel like going to Target. So I'll just go mail myself some paper towels, which is what I just picked up.
Oh, it's sadder than
Why go to Target and buy Bounty when you could just go to Amazon.com and send yourself Bounty?
You're putting every local business in the world out of business.
I know that. That's the problem with Amazon. That's the problem with all these companies. It's the same thing with.
Do you order?
It's like Best Buy's got to deal with the same type of stuff. Like people will go there to almost test drive the thing and then go buy it somewhere cheaper online.
I know, and you know what? As a guitar player, I see that happening in guitar centers all the time. People go in and check the price and see if there are any special deals. Then they go order someplace they might get 10% off or whatever.
Yeah,
it's really a horrible way to live.
Yes.
It saves you a little money, but it's terrible for our society.
Yeah.
So I'm laying a big guilt trip on you. And you know what? That's redundant to lay a guilt trip on Michael Russo.
Yeah.
That should be illegal.
That's true. I'm Jewish.
And I'm Catholic.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like Jewish light, I think.
Yeah.
How did we get here in this conversation?
I don't know. What are we doing now?
You know what? I guess we're doing a hockey podcast. I will go ahead and introduce the stupid
This
show.
is like my third thing of the day, by the way. So I'm like, I have no
I'm
throat.
glad you saved the best for me. I say sarcastically. This is the Russo-Souhan Show. He's Michael Russo from The Athletic. I'm Jim Souhan from the Star Tribune. We're going to talk some hockey, I guess, and Stanley Cup playoffs, Nino, Coyle, all that stuff. Thank you to our sponsors, Twill and the Dining Galleria. If you hear this in time, this weekend, the 4th and 5th, they are having a trunk sale with Stenstrom stuff. I bought, they had a special last time I was in, and I bought I think it was like four for the price of 3, something like that. They're the best shirts I've ever owned. I wear them all the time. Check out Twill and the Dining Galleria. Let's see, we have Fixology Repair. They have downtown Minneapolis. They have 3rd floor Mall of America. They are going to be opening a new place in downtown St. Paul. Check it out. And also Tony Hoaglund, your State Farm agent Champlin, who handles my insurance and Michael's. I'll tell you more about all those businesses later. Where do you want to start with the Stanley Cup playoffs? Nino and Coyle, is that too obvious?
Yeah, I mean, maybe by the time this podcast is released, Carolina will be on into the third round, which is all they do is go to the Stanley Cup final when they make the playoffs. So, and I do think Boston now comes out of the East. So it could very well be Charlie versus Nino in the Eastern Conference Final for all the marbles. And who would have thought? Who would have thought?
The good thing is Wild fans will not be offended by that at all.
No. Yeah, and I keep on tweeting about them, and I honestly, genuinely don't mean to be like throwing it down like Wild fans' faces, but it's just one of the things. Like in the final minute of the game against the Islanders the other night, Nino, very late in his shift, dumps the puck himself and then goes to the corner and wins the race, and then eats 25 seconds off the clock, and it's like. Because he covered him, you're like, holy mackerel. So it's like I tweet about it, and then, there's some people get rid of our franchise, and then there are other people I'm so tired of hearing all these, about these two, and so
That's
feel
just Twitter. I tweeted the other day. I just tweeted a list of facts the other day. Twins won an impressive game over the Houston Astros. So I just tweeted, they're 19-10. They have the best record in American League. They're half game out of the best record in Major League Baseball. They just took 3 out of 4 from the Astros. I just listed 4 or 5 facts, and I came back. It's just 18% of the season. It's like people can't even accept, much less not be able to accept other people's opinions. Some people can't accept facts, just basic facts.
Yeah, well, I think part of it said it's Minnesota, so they're just waiting for the shoe to drop, or their best player to get a drug suspension again, or
okay, now you're depressing me too.
Yeah. Or I don't know. The mumps. There's so much stuff that could happen.
but just but they won a couple of games. Just enjoy it.
It is funny though. It's like if all of a sudden, let's just say they have a great series in New York and Toronto, then you're like, wow, this team could be for real because they usually suck in both those places, right?
That is very true.
Yeah.
But the thing is, even if they have a terrible road trip, they're still set up for success here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, hey, I'm not doubting it, but I do think it's the Minnesota way. It's like, please,
God, yes.
it's just, they're just waiting for, for Polanco and Rosario to somehow collide in the base path or something, and each tear an ACL or, Barrios to just, whatever,
Of course, the weird thing about being a sports writer in Minnesota is if you
kind of expect the same stuff.
If you say, the thing about being a sports writer in Minnesota is if you say, oh my God, don't take this serious or something like that, then you're the negative jerk of all time. But if you just say, hey, they're 19-10, then we have to shoot that down. We can't actually accept that fact.
Well, just listen to every Russo-Souhan show during the season. Every year, every episode with the Wild usually takes a different tone because they're either great week and then awful the next week, and it's like just can never really take a stance on the team. So it's probably the same way. I think Twins fans, I mean, it is interesting. Like Dustin Morse tweeted out that it's the first time in 9 years that the Twins can say they have the best record in baseball, but the last time was 152 games into the 2010 season, not 29 games into the 2019 season.
That is very true. And of course, that season had misfortune because Justin Morneau slid into second base and got his bell rung, and never was the same. So, okay, now you're pressing
beginning of the end.
Let's talk about some positive stuff.
We know something bad's going to happen, Jim.
No, it's just going to be a fun, nice baseball season.
Yep.
I am insisting on it happening.
Yeah, I saw them planning the parade on Nicollet right when I was driving down here.
Speaking of positivity, how's the Minnesota Wild doing these days? Any new developments?
Who?
Minnesota Wild.
New developments. No, they still didn't make the playoffs, Jim. New developments. I do think that there have been contract extensions or re-signings given to the coaches that needed that done, which would have been Darby Hendrickson and Bob Woods. Different terms, though, which I believe because this is just I get the impression from talking to people around town that know Darby that he only got a 1-year extension, which is just bizarre to me. Where I think Bob and Dean Evison have 2 years left on their deal. Bob Woods, Bob Mason was already re-signed, or was already had term left on his deal. Evison had term left on his deal. Boudreau, as you know, had term left on his deal 1 year. Right now, no extension for him. I just had him in studio. I was filling in on the fan, and he was in for an hour, which was always fun. What else? Training staff, I believe, have got all new deals. And now it's just a matter of they're going to have pro meetings this upcoming weekend to really start looking at free agency and potential trades and things like that. And, as I've said and written a gazillion times, we could talk about all the salary cap room that they have and all that, but they got 12 guys signed to one-way contracts up front. So I don't care if they're interested in Anders Lee. I don't care if they're interested in Brett Connolly or Jordan Eberle or Matt Zuccarello or whatever. I mean, until they make trades, they can't sign any of these guys. There's no room. So be just interested.
Thanks to Twill in the Edina Galleria. It is in the Edina Galleria. I say that for a reason. It's a beautiful little mall, cool shops, a good Starbucks, a bunch of good places in there. And Twill, of course, is my favorite joint in there. Scott Dayton does a great job with his shop. And this weekend, the Stenstrom's trunk sale, which means you go in there, I don't know exactly what the deal is, but they usually give you a good deal. The stuff is beautiful. It'll last forever. It looks great with jeans. It looks great with a suit. Check it out.
Jim usually doesn't like to shop for clothes. I don't like it when he shops for clothes either, because he used to buy stuff I'd want to throw out. That's why I'm so glad he's found Twill in the Edina Galleria. He likes shopping there because of the comfortable environment and the friendly staff. He finds clothes that actually fit him properly and are high-quality brands that will look great for years, whether he's golfing or working. Our favorites so far are Peter Millar, Johnny O, and Barber. We spend our money at Twill because we love the clothes and we love the no-pressure shopping. Drop by Twill in the Edina Galleria for the best shopping experience and best clothes you'll find in the Twin Cities.
How's Bruce doing these days?
He's good. His son just graduated from... got his master's at 19 years old from Grand Canyon University down in Arizona.
Wow.
So he and his wife went down there for the...
I think Grand Canyon is where Kevin Warren played college basketball, the Vikings CEO or vice president.
You know what's weird is that I cannot remember it, and maybe somebody that listened to my podcast is going to remind me that it's him, but somebody just told me that they're going to Grand Canyon University. I just cannot remember who the heck it was. Just the other day, so I don't remember who it was. So Brady Boudreau, who I wrote about earlier this season, has Asperger's. He got his master's at age 19.
Wow.
So his parents, basically, or I would say probably his mom wanted him to walk. And remember, because he was doing online classes, so he's really never even been down there, other than probably a visitor or something like that. But everything's online, so he went down there, and and just for the benefit of Bruce and Crystal, walked. So that was pretty cool. Bruce just told a hilarious story on the fan about Casey, his daughter, who's his only daughter. He's got 3 sons. Lives in Ottawa, has a 4-year-old daughter named Everly. And so every time that Everly is around the Wild, she would wear a Coyle jersey and loved Coyle for some reason. And Coyle would always treat her like gold. And then all of a sudden, the Wild trade Coyle to the Boston Bruins. So Bruce sheepishly calls his daughter up and says, "Hey, you might want to just tell Everly that we just traded Coyle. So, you got to deal with that." And so then Everly has no reaction. She goes, "Okay, I'll just become a Nino fan." And then Casey had to kind of like, well, Nino was traded a month ago. And then she's like, okay, Eric Fair will be my new favorite player. And then Casey had to be like, yeah, well, he's probably gone. So this poor girl.
Gabrick.
Yeah, this poor girl. So then I said on the radio, which put Bruce in a bad spot. I'm like, hopefully her next jersey is not a Zucker jersey.
You're vicious.
Yes.
You're absolutely vicious.
What else? Bruce, he's got a 140 pound dog named Dixie.
My dog is like 22 pounds, and that's more than enough.
Yeah.
Tonnage.
Wait till you see. So I'm doing this athletic story next week. This like Q&A based off today's show. Lazy way to get a byline out there. But I have pictures of Bruce and Dixie. Oh, they are good. They are good.
You're making me wonder exactly what's going on with Bruce and his dog.
No, it's just a gigantic dog.
Okay.
That's basically on
Clifford,
Bruce's
the
lap.
big red dog in real life.
No, it's just going to be like, it's worth, if you're not a subscriber to The Athletic, it's worth being a subscriber to The Athletic just to see these pictures.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. Let's thank Fixology Repair. Fixology Repair, downtown Minneapolis, in the Skyway, at the Mall of America, third floor up by Nordstrom's, and soon it'll be in downtown St. Paul. Check it out. Watches, repairs, all kinds of stuff. You know what the deal is.
There are some things in life that you just can't live without. Now, whether it's a special piece of jewelry, a watch, or even your smartphone, you want it in working condition. At Fixology Repair, we are committed to restoring your pieces so that everything works or fits the way it ought to. Watch servicing, chain repair, and broken screen replacements are just a few of the services that we offer at our 2 locations, Mall of America and the Skyway in downtown Minneapolis. Please visit us at fixologyrepair.com or at fixologymn on Twitter to learn more. Mention this ad and get a 10% discount on our services.
Where'd you get those sneakers? Did you get that at Twill?
No, these are like just some really cheap slip-ons just for walking the dog.
Oh, they're cool.
They are?
Yeah, I like
$20.
Where?
Yeah, these are cheapies. Actually, that is probably the next thing I'm going to buy at Twill is some nice, like, black, dressy type shoes that I can actually wear with nice clothes. I'm missing that. So I'm going to get that next because they have really good shoes there too as well. Let's do a few Twitter questions since I've run out of all hockey questions at this point.
Yeah, there's not much to talk about these days. These are the dog days.
So we'll talk more about. I actually have something I want to ask you about a little bit. From John Gallagher, I've heard the Wild has some cap space for free agency this year. Who are some realistic options we can go after?
Well, I mean, all those guys, they have a lot of cap space. But again, there's, is Anders Lee going to sign here when you got Parise and Zucker and Fiala and Donato and Greenway and Cunnin? It's like, where's he going to play? And then even if they get him, where are the others going to play? I mean, this is kind of like, I don't want to go on a rant here, but it's like, they have nothing. What is the plan of what is Paul Fenn's plan? Like, I just don't get it. And I get that he doesn't want to spell it out, but part of me wonders if he knows. Like, it just, what he's done, none of this, you can't connect any dots. It just doesn't make sense. And then when you're like, all right, well, then maybe they go after a top center, then he goes and re-signs Stahl. So it's like, I can't give you realistic options because it is so hard to see what the plan is right now. Again, I know I'm ranting, but it's like, look, we all expect Zucker to be traded, but you got Parise, Zucker, Greenway. You have Donato and Fiala, who right now have to play right wing, and Cunnin. And your centers are now 35 and 36 in Koivu and Stahl, one coming off a major injury, and Eriksson Ek. And so, like, we could all say they're going after Anders Lee. They're going after Zuccarello. They might go after Brett Connolly. They might go after Jordan Everly. How? Where? Why? What? How are they fitting all this? I don't see it right now. So there.
So there. New tagline for the show. So there.
I mean, it's just that's the truth. I mean, I know everybody's like, oh, all you do is rip on this. When I think the truest thing that he said his end of year franchise is that he was shooting from the hip. We're like, he basically said we're building on the fly. I think he said his term was like shooting from the hip. I think that's the way he said it. It almost seems that way. I mean, and a perfect example is just the Boteto move. I mean, it kind of, to me, symbolized everything. You don't get Boteto right after getting Hunt. And so it's just and then again he trades Niederreiter, Coyle, and Granlund, and it's like again you add left shot left wings that are now going to have to play right wing, and it just they lose a right number one pair right shot right D, never once replace it. They lose their number 2 center, never once replace it, but they added all this other stuff around that have repercussions for the lineup down the road too. And then they are, again, bragging that they have, not bragging is the wrong word, but they're kind of constantly reminding us they have all this cap space. Well, where and why and how? There's nowhere. You can't sign anybody right now until you make trades because where are these guys playing? And how are you going to get Anders Lee to ever sign here when he looks at the depth chart the way I mean, this is why I keep on saying it's like it would not shock me if they strike out this summer. And if they do, I can't wait to hear what the reasons were, So
the interesting thing is, Michael, that I've been doing this for a long freaking time. And what you usually run into as a reporter is people telling you, well, we have a plan. We have a plan. We have a plan. And if that plan fails, well, we have another plan. And it's like, most managers, and I mean managers in the grand sense, general managers, coaches, GM, CEOs, whatever. Everybody, even if they don't have a plan, they want you to believe they have a plan. Mm-hmm. It kind of gives them some protection. Well, we still have a plan for this eventuality. Fenton kind of admits he doesn't have a plan.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he's admitted that, but it definitely just.
Well, I mean, if you say you're shooting from the hip, though, that's the opposite of having a plan.
I mean, that was the connotation I took it as, but I don't know. It's just weird. I mean, the whole thing's just weird. So,
all right, we're going to get to some more weird stuff. We do want to thank Tony Hoaglund, Hoaglund, your State Farm agent in Champlin. The nicest thing we say about Tony, other than all the stuff we usually say about him, is that Michael and I both get our insurance through Tony, Hoaglund. We don't have to. He didn't beg us to, and he's not giving us discounts. We did it because he does a good job.
Hey, Minnesota sports fans. This is your local State Farm agent, Tony Hoaglund. I need you all to ask yourselves this question. If you're in an at-fault car accident and you are sued for $700,000, how much of that $700,000 will my current insurance company pay? If you are unsure or can't answer all $700,000, you need to give us a call. State Farm has been number one in car insurance since World War II and number one in homeowners insurance since 1964. For a no-obligation review of your current policies, call us at 763-421-4900 or check out our website at www.champlininsurance.com.
All right, on Twitter, R.D. Jones asks, how many times a day does Fenton bang his head on his desk when thinking about Nino Rask trade?
I don't know. I mean, it's got to be hard. I mean, again, that one, like I get trading Nino. He's making $5.25 million. He had 3 more years left after this one. He was basically edged out of the lineup again for the same reasons I just said. He had Parise, Zucker, Greenway, Foligno. Nino. It's like Nino just didn't have a spot in the lineup. He was sort of the odd man out. Bruce didn't like him at right wing. Didn't feel like he could catch a pass, things like that, make plays off that right wing. So I get trading him. But again, you hope you can get something. The thing is, and I don't think I'm saying anything out of school here because I think Fenton has said this publicly, but they did not have a lot of options, if any options. I think he was trying to trade Nino from day one of the season, not even day one. He was trying to trade him as of the last June and couldn't find any takers. And then he found a taker, but there's a reason why he found a taker, because Victor Rask is somebody that Carolina planned to buy out this summer. So now the only issue to me with this trade, you would have been better off trading him for just a draft pick. But now they've created a bigger problem because now they got a guy making $4 million with 3 years left on his deal with 0 spot in the lineup that's obvious. I mean, again, if you're thinking that your top centers are Stahl, Koivu, and Eriksson Ek, and Nico Sturm has a legitimate chance to make the team, where's Rask playing? Well, he's not playing his natural center position. And then if you're thinking that your third line, which was great last year and down the stretch, is going to be Greenway, Eriksson, Ek, Cunnin, and your top wingers are going to be Parise and Fiala and Donato, and we're assuming Zucker, but he could potentially be moved. Or if it's not Zucker, one of those free agent wingers, well, Rask has to be at a minimum a fourth line winger here. And they keep on talking like we're going to give Rask an opportunity next year to try to reestablish himself. Where? How is it humanly possible that Victor Rask is in the top 9 on this team? I don't see it. There's no feasible way. So if he's on the fourth line, there's no chance at all that he's going to be able to reestablish himself. He's not going to be able to produce from there. So he's a buyout waiting to happen in a year.
From Davis Bailey, what do you think Fenton sees as the advantage of keeping Bruce on without extending him? Seems unfair to Bruce.
Yeah, it does, especially because this is the year that he could probably get another job immediately. Like, I bet you Buffalo would hire him tomorrow. But you know, right now it does not look like there's any indication that he's getting an extension. So, you know, I don't see any benefits of it other than he's being kind of forced to by the owner, but he doesn't want to extend him because he wants his own guy still. So, I mean, if you extend him, then Paul knows that in a year when he goes to Craig again, well, I'd like to bring in my own guy. He's probably going to say again. So I think that Paul just doesn't want to extend him right now.
From Russo Slacks, it's time for an embarrassing new homeowner story. We know you have some.
I really don't.
Have you been home?
Yeah.
That's
been
weird.
home a good amount. I don't really have any
No
bad
blood,
ones yet.
No glass shards.
No, not since the one that happened on the air with you.
No, I feel special.
No, really, no embarrassing homeowner stories. I'm a great
just
homeowner.
Despite you slacks, from Wild Road Tripper, is little Joe Pavelski a realistic target for the Wild in free agency, or will free agency strictly be one of us, Anders Lee and or Brock Nelson from the Islanders?
Well, I mean, look, I mean, I don't know if he's saying that with like a twinge of like sarcasm, like, you know, that all they do is get one of us guys. But if you had a choice between Joe Pavelski at 35 or Anders Lee right now at 29, I think most people would say go for Lee. So, I mean, you know, if they go for Lee, I don't think that Paul Fenton's doing it because of the birth certificate at all.
Right.
And again, at center, I don't know why Brock, even if the Wild had interest in Brock Nelson, I don't know why he would sign here. Looking at the Wild's depth chart, you know, so, or that's not fair. He would probably say to himself, well, I'm better than those guys, and maybe do it, but it just makes no sense really anymore for the Wild to go after him after they signed Stahl. So, in terms of Pavelski, I just think it's a risk. I think that the Wild do have major interest in Pavelski. I don't know if he'd sign here. I will preface this by they got to make sure he's healthy. He's had now 2 major head injuries in the playoffs. So I don't know if that's going to, all of a sudden scare Paul away. But, you know, everything's going to come down, you know, as I've said all along, everything's going to come down to term and money. Pavelski's going to want more than $6 million a year, and he's going to probably want at a minimum a 3-year deal. And now all of a sudden, in 3 years, you have a 38-year-old Joe Pavelski with 38-year-old Zach Parise and Ryan Suter. It seems like a huge risk. He's not going to get better in that time. And the other thing is he scored 37 goals this year, and that was with an extremely talented top 9 on that San Jose Sharks team. Who's getting Joe Pavelski the puck? It seems like a risk.
From NA on Twitter, where does Sturm slot in under the current roster?
Well, I mean, same thing. I mean, if Mikko's ready, and we're assuming Mikko, and when I say Mikko, I'm not saying Nico, I'm saying Mikko Koivu, and he is well ahead of schedule. Everybody is saying, that means Stahl, Mikko, Eriksson Ek in either order there. So is Nico Sturm, if you're Paul Fenton, do you want him playing 4th line center, or would you rather him playing top line minutes down in Iowa? I would think that, but we'll see. I think it would be better for him to be in the minors, but he absolutely is an impressive guy.
From Corey,
to me, it would be smarter for them to develop him down in the minors this year. Maybe call him up at some point when they need it. But, wait till, all of a sudden you say to Nico, hey, go down to Iowa, play huge minutes, light it up. And then in a year when Mikko's gone, you're that guy.
From Corey Berthome, I hope I'm probably not pronouncing it right. I apologize. What could the Wild do to better develop players?
Well, I mean, I think that they're gonna start getting an influx of young talent down there, and I think Brad Bombardier does a great job, and I think that they've got a good coaching staff down in the minors. I don't know if Brett McLean and Cuniff, David Cuniff, are going to return to work with Tim Army, if they're going to have to revamp that staff down there. I know McLean's somebody in the last year of his deal that probably might have a chance to go elsewhere and work, and maybe even be a head coach, so he might leave. But a lot of the reason why they haven't developed a lot of guys is that they've traded guys like Tuck, and they've traded a lot of draft picks. Well, all of a sudden, you're going to get Lodnia down there. You're going to get Duheim down there. You're going to get Durer down there. You might get Kovanoff, although he probably will go back to Moncton and juniors there. So I just think, the development will come with just better and better players and younger players going to Iowa. I mean, this year's Iowa team is a very, veteran-laden team. You have the guys on AHL deals like Fitzgerald and Mayhew. You have the Rouse and the Matt Reeds and people like that. As far as prospects, there's almost nothing down there other than Belpedio, Benell, and Susi. So as long as as they continue to get more and more young players down there, I think that Wild fans will start to feel better about the prospect pool.
A couple more Twitter questions. We'll be back next week to answer more. We do appreciate them. From Craig B. Do you think, this is an interesting question, do you think either of the Wild teams from the years the Wild were losing to Chicago in the playoffs would be contending right now in this year's playoffs?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Those weren't bad teams. I mean, that team that beat Colorado, that team that beat St. Louis, those were good versions of the Wild. And, I'm one of those people that still say that their 2017 that lost to Anaheim was actually better than their 2018 that lost to Colorado. That was a good 2007 team. And it was the worst possible matchup for them. And the reason why it was the worst possible matchup for them is that Anaheim was so big and tough and physical on them. And then what Risebrough and those guys did, arguably, is they probably overreacted to that loss. And then that next year tried to get bigger and tougher by adding the Fedorics of the world, around Thanksgiving, and then eventually Chris Simon. And Chris Simon, I don't think even was used in the playoffs. And so it was just probably kind of an overreaction to a loss. And then all of a sudden they just weren't nearly as good, in my opinion, even though they won the division that year. So I totally agree. The 2014 and 15 teams were good versions of the Wild. And in a postseason where, the best team in the league was out. The defending Stanley Cup champions were out. The top two teams in the Central Division are out. The Vegas Golden Knights, last year finalist, out, even though that's very controversial. This was probably a year where those teams could have absolutely contended.
Michael's the volume on his voice has dropped as the coffee buzz is worn out. I think we need to get him some more. One more Twitter question. Thanks to everybody who listens. Thanks again to Twill in the Edina Galleria, fixologyrepair.com, Tony Hoaglund, your State Farm agent in Champlin. Again, if you'd like to advertise with the program or host the program, you can reach us at talknorthpodcast@gmail.com. From Cody Kobernick, picks for the Stanley Cup at this point.
I still like St. Louis. I had Bruce on the radio today. He likes Dallas in that series, which shocked me. Obviously, the winner will know tomorrow who's up 3-2 when this podcast comes out. So, we'll see. In the East, I suddenly like Boston again. Now that they've evened up that series, I see Boston coming out of it. So I think Boston comes out of the East, even though it seems like Carolina's a team of destiny. And I still, like St. Louis and San Jose in the West.
Good stuff. I'm sure we'll be wrong, but we'll be back to talk about why we're wrong. Thanks to Michael. Thanks to our listeners. Check out TalkNorth.com. Subscribe at iTunes, your favorite podcast app, and we will be back next week to talk more about housewarming gifts.
Pretty little city built on a hillside. Music in the bars and fire in the sky. We went to the beach and it was covered in ice. And I used to call it home. So much coming out, there's nothing going in. I know that you feel like you're never gonna win. Oh, but the world won't forgive a winner.
Holiday tips and fun facts from Paul, Kristen, and Dexter at Total Wine & More.
The custom of bumping glasses with the cheers came from old Rome. When in Rome, cheers!
A pork crown roast with cranberry stuffing deserves a ripe, fruit-forward Cabernet from Paso Robles. Let me help you find the perfect bottle.
Looking for the right wine for a meaningful gift? Consider me your wine concierge.
Whether you're entertaining or just bringing the wine, we'd love to share our always low prices and ridiculous selection with you. This holiday, now offering same-day delivery at TotalWine.com. Cheers! Holiday tips and fun facts from Paul, Kristen, and Dexter at Total Wine & More.
The custom of bumping glasses with the cheers came from old Rome. When in Rome, cheers!
A pork crown roast with cranberry stuffing deserves a ripe, fruit-forward Cabernet from Paso Robles. Let me help you find the perfect bottle.
Looking for the right wine for a meaningful gift? Consider me your wine concierge.
Whether you're entertaining or just bringing the wine, we'd love to share our always low prices and ridiculous selection with you. This holiday, now offering same-day delivery at TotalWine.com. Cheers!